All right, so now we want to talk about customizing Django form fields, adding in some widgets, maybe adding some HTML elements like placeholders, CSS classes, and IDs. Now to do this, we really just want to be working mostly in forms.py. And I will say this is a lot of reference related material, but it's still good to see it in action. The reason it's reference related is because there's just so much to Django forms. Right? I can't possibly cover all of it without spending hours upon hours. And also it's not usually that practical to cover all of it. Now in this case, let's go ahead and jump into forms.py and let's add in our first customization. This is actually a really simple one, and this is the required CSS class. So whatever class that we want to add to our form for required fields. So something like required field, right? And typically with CSS classes, conversely with Python classes, CSS classes have the dash in between them, not underscores. So definitely do not do that. Okay, so now we save this and let's go back into our view here, the rendered view for our create view. The reason I'm using create view is just to simplify everything. And if we inspect the element with a right click on any given element or view developer, view source, either one, you can actually see that required field class now on the p tag that is surrounding the actual field itself, which has the label and the input name. So that's pretty cool. Really, really simple. Now there's another one that I'm not going to actually test, which is just simply the error CSS class. And you could say error field. Something like that. And that will actually show you the error class as well when an error occurs. So that's really simple. Now the question is, how do I actually do this to, let's say, a description field or any of my other fields? Well, one of the ways you could do it, let's start with the name field. We can actually come in and do forms.char field. And what I have to do with this character field is I have to add in a widget. So the widget is what actually gets rendered on the view itself. So in this case, it's forms.input field. Now, this might be hard to remember, right? So it might not be hard to remember exactly what widget is being used. So that's why it's also very useful to go to the reference and find all of the built-in widgets. So text input is one of them, not input field, right? So again, yet another reason to always be checking the documentation, because remembering all of these things doesn't make sense. Input field to me actually makes a little bit more sense than text input because of how the HTML element works. But then there's other layers that you'd have to add to just make a text input. So thus they shortcut it to just text input. And so to change the class here, what we can do is we can initialize an instance of the text input, and then we can pass in attributes or ATTRS and whatever HTML attributes we want to add. So if I did class here of like, let's say for instance, form-control, which is a bootstrap class, something I haven't obviously specified yet, but we now have a way to add in that class. So going back into that form, if I refresh in here, let's go ahead and save everything. And oops, this should be forms right here. Let's save that. And now if I go into this actual form element here, I now see that there is a class there. Now this is also going to be true for stuff like placeholder as well. So placeholder being, something like your name, right? Cool. So I refresh in there and now it actually shows some sort of placeholder. Now, of course, this is actually should be recipe name, not your name. And so we can actually follow along this same logic with some of these other fields. So if I come in here, I can do forms.char field again. Now, again, it's a character field. It is not a text field like you might want it to be, which is what I want it to be, because the actual model field is a text field. So why isn't the form a text field? Well, yet again, this is about the actual character field and the widget it's being used with. So in this case, it's forms.textArea. And so text area is really one of those things that you'll end up using only with bigger fields, but you can use that widget anywhere. The widget itself that's being used actually doesn't really matter as far as the data type is concerned. You can actually render any kind of widget that you want, but the validation might not allow that widget to end up working. So that's stuff that you can, of course, check out. And so in a text area, if you know HTML really well, you know that you can actually pass in the attribute on the input itself to being like, say, rows, and you can set that to like 3. And we can refresh in here, and there we go. Okay. And so we can continue along this logic in naming the actual field itself. Now, if I did descriptions, I did another field name that wasn't in the model or specified here, we would actually see yet another field come in. So certainly model forms can render other kinds of field as well, which I think is also really pretty cool. So to kind of augment the field or the form itself, what I want to do, instead of actually declaring the char field and all this stuff here, I'm going to show you yet another method to change those things. So we can actually come in here and define a init method, and this is going to take in self args and keyword args. And then of course we want to call the initial init method. So we'll call the parent init method with self and args and keyword args. And so now what we can do is we can do something like self.fields of name. And in this case, there is a default widget already. So I can actually reference that widget by doing .widget. And I can now set from .widget, I can use attributes, and I can call .update. And so update will allow me to pass in 2 different kinds of data here. So I can pass in a dictionary and say class, and this is going to be, let's say form control 2. We can save that, and then I can refresh in this page. And of course, on that name itself, that actual element, I get the actual class. And so if I use these in tandem, let's take a look. So I save that and refresh. Notice that recipe name is back, the original placeholder, but the class name has actually changed. So granted, we can actually override what's going on in here. Now, there are third-party packages that can really extend the power of this quite a bit without being super repetitive. But that's not something I'm going to cover right now. Now, there are other things that we can do with any given field, whether it's down in the init method or it's inside of the character field arguments themselves, or really just the actual field argument itself, whether it's a character field or any other kind of field. We can also call the name itself. So let's do self.name and say something like label is equal to an empty string. That actually removes that value. It won't render that label value any longer. And this same exact method is up here. Okay, cool. So there we go. So now what I want to do is actually think about this in terms of the actual character field. Okay, so the character field is, well, identical, or rather the text area field is almost identical to this. We can say rows and 2, right? And then again, we put in the description as the field name. So we refresh, and there we go. Okay, so now what I want to think about is, why would you do the init method versus these arguments here? Well, to me, it actually has everything to do with the fields themselves. So if I comment these out, let's go ahead and do a for loop. So for field in self.fields, and I'll just go ahead and print out whatever that field is. And so we'll refresh in here, and we'll take a look in our views, and here are several different fields. Now, part of the reason I do something like this would have to do with, well, just updating our placeholder. So remember, I could use a dictionary here, but I can also use an actual keyword argument. So we can actually pass in placeholder, and we can set that equal to, well, let's set it equal to something like recipe and, well, the field name itself. So I'm going to pass it in like this with a string of field instead of anything else. But it should actually give me the placeholder as we want, and then we'll pass in the string of field in here as well, which is simply just str and field. Okay, so we save that now, refresh, and now it's actually giving me a placeholder on all of these things. That's pretty cool. That means that I can actually do other attributes to every given field and update all of them as needed. So of course, placeholder is one of them. Another one might actually be, your class. So if you did class equals to form-control, we save that. And let's make sure that we are updating this correctly. And so notice that I have it in here. It's giving me an invalid syntax. And so what we want It's probably related to the fact that class itself is a reserved keyword in Python. So let's go ahead and just update this as new data. And we'll put this in as a dictionary instead, which is often a very good way to do this anyway. And so we'll come in here and placeholder like that, and then class as a string now. And then that's going to be equal to form control. And then we'll unpack that in our update. Actually, not unpack it. We can just pass in the dictionary itself. You could do either. You can unpack it or just pack in the dictionary, which I think is nice. Okay, so I'll leave that as is. And so I refresh in here again. And if I inspect any given element, I actually see the name of that element, which is really nice. Now, this is also true if we go into edit something, right? So this is now propagated across multiple places wherever I render out that form. And so that is really customizing these forms. Now, it takes to be a little bit creative as to how you want to go about doing this. And realistically, looping through all the fields, that's not necessarily something you'll do all the time, but it is something you might consider, especially with like these placeholders. Now, one of the things that I do want to actually have is the description having 2 rows, and then the directions having 3 rows, or maybe even 4. Let's do 4 rows. And so we save that, and now it's just a little bit tighter of a form, and it's a little bit more user-friendly. Granted, the CSS would solve a lot of these problems. So using something like Bootstrap would actually change and clean up how this ends up looking. And around that time, we'll talk about maybe a third-party package that can also clean things up. Just so you know, it's called Django Crispy Forms. That's also another alternative to trying to do all of these things manually. But I think it's really useful to see, and really useful in this case, so that I can see my data quite a bit better than I had before.